Welcome, everybody, to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
It's my goal to feed 1 billion people before I die.
We want to bring awareness around the issue of hunger and food insecurity.
7 to 8 million people served so far. With the sole goal of eradicating world hunger by connecting sources of food to recipients in need. Fiorenza's Food for Friends.
Hello and welcome to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. I'm your host, Derek Fiorenza, joined by my colleague,
Isabella Ambrosino.
And today we have a very special guest with us, Isabella. This gentleman's name is Mike McCloud, and it's kind of interesting timing-wise how we got connected this year. Mike, believe it or not, I wanted to connect with you guys last year when we were doing the chili cook-off, but it was too late. We had 6 weeks to put together an event with 10,000 people at it, so we didn't have enough time. But this year we're ahead of it.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Congratulations on being ahead of the curve finally, right?
Oh, well, for once at least. But we'll take it, right, Isabella? We'll take it.
Yep, definitely.
So anyway, we're excited to have you with us today, and we want to learn all about what you're doing as it pertains to the chili cook-off, as well as your other business endeavors. But before that, Isabella will kind of get you started on your background, your upbringing, your values, what's important to you, and then we'll kind of transition into the next phase. Isabella?
Yeah, so Mike, just start from the beginning. How you got into what you do, a little bit about yourself and how you grew up.
So I'm a trained journalist by nature with a communications degree out of college at University of Tennessee back in 1990, a long time ago, and never really wanted to go into journalism. I actually just wanted to go into advertising, marketing, and publish a magazine. And so I did that right out of college. I just started my own magazine firm and had to learn a lot about selling, PR, marketing, advertising, writing, etc. And did that for about 10 years and built up a pretty good firm, acquired a couple of others that were competitors along the way. And about 15 years in, one of my good friends who I'd run a political campaign for walked into my office one day and said, "Mike, have you ever thought about marketing barbecue?" And I said, "No, I haven't. I don't know anything about barbecue other than how to eat it." And he said, "Well, it's time for you to learn." He was working with the Kansas City Barbecue Society at the time. He was on the board. And he asked me to look at possibly helping them out. They were turning 20 years of age at the time and had moderate success. And he said, "We think we're going to take this seriously now. And we need someone to help us do it." So I did some homework on it, realized, my goodness, this was a growing thing. You know, Food Network was taking off, barbecue was taking off, and I felt like it was NASCAR about 20 years before NASCAR ever hit TV. So we agreed to do it, signed a very comprehensive marketing game plan with them, created new revenue streams, grew existing revenue streams, and really just got hooked on competition food. It was during that probably the first 4-year segment of a 12-year agreement that we believed there was more to culinary competitions than just barbecue. Barbecue was a main, very long-standing vertical, but the one vertical that had been around even longer was chili. And I started looking at chili as a possible entry point or opportunity. In '09, tried to purchase the International Chili Society from a couple that was running it and operating it for years. Incidentally, if you don't know, that the entire whole International Chili Society was created by the gentleman who created the Shelby Cobra, and Carroll Shelby was his name, and it was an incredible history. And this couple had picked it up from him and been operating it. Well, I couldn't buy it in '09 And I decided that, well, I needed to go create something else. So I started creating the World Food Championships in 2010. And our company launched the first iteration of that in 2012. And it was so well received that in about 3 years, I decided to divest from all other agency services and projects that we were doing. So we used to work with banks and insurance companies, political candidates, you name it. Anybody who had a check that didn't bounce a foot off the floor, we'd work for them. And so we just decided I decided to sell all that stuff off, basically split my company in two, and started focusing on culinary competition through the World Food Championships. It included a chili vertical, um, and we had barbecue and sandwich and burger and dessert and a few others. And we just went off to the races. It's like the shot heard around the competition world. And ever since we've just continued building and expanding the World Food Championships. Now, fast forward in that timeline, in about 2019, late 2019, I had heard that the chili arena, the ICS that I had tried to buy 10 years before, was either about to be closed or about to be sold. And I got into some talks with people that were in the know, and long story short, decided to buy International Chili Society about 10 years after I tried the first time. And the deal closed in March of 2020. Do you remember what happened in March of 2020?
Oh yeah, right
The
during the
world,
pandemic, the world
as
shut down.
soon as we closed our deal, the world closed its deal. And so there were probably 70, 80 qualifiers in the ICS network. Every one of them got wiped out.
Oh,
And so thanks to COVID, I sit on this for a year thinking about, all right, how are we going to revive Chile, or can we? And thankfully, when COVID restrictions started lifting and parts of the country started opening up, we were able to get Chile kind of back in the swing of things. And today we have over 100 qualifiers in the network. And I hear that we may be qualifying yours, sanctioning yours. So that's good news. So yeah, that started another little journey for me. For about 3 or 4 years, we did the championship in Myrtle Beach. I moved it from, I think it was in Nebraska or Omaha somewhere when I had purchased it. We took a year and a half off, and then I moved it to Myrtle Beach because who doesn't like the beach, and who doesn't like
yeah.
chili, and who doesn't like beer, right? So that worked out really well. We loved being in Myrtle Beach, but my monster event of the year is World Food Championship. So we had launched it in Indianapolis last year, and we were so happy with how it went that the Chili Championship, which was a month prior to World Food Championships, we just felt like we felt like there'd be a lot of synergy to bring them together. We had plenty of space in Indianapolis with the fairground host that we use. And this year, for the first time, we will have Chile back with World Food Championships, but there will be two major championships going on. We'll have 100 teams in Chile, and then we'll have about 350 teams in the World Food Championships, all duking it out in the world's largest food fight in Indianapolis in October of this year. So that's a 34-year history for you in about 4 minutes.
And you said that the gentleman who created the Cobra, that was Mr. Shelby. He's the one that started the
Yeah.
International Chili.
So Carroll Shelby and some of his racing buddies and
These
business
cars,
business friends, that's right.
amazing.
They got together back in, gosh, I'd have to do the timeline on, I think 66, 67,
Hmm.
68, somewhere in there, 1968. And they started doing chili competitions, and they were so fond of them that several organizations were created as a result, and one of them was the International Chili Society, which we own today. And at every major chili championship, we try to have a Shelby car show. And
I love
we
it.
had three really good ones in Myrtle Beach, and we're trying to organize that in Indianapolis right now. We'll have a Culver Shelby or two there just to maintain the connection, but we're trying to see if we can turn it into a car show.
That is incredible. So just reading through kind of the mission here, it's just the whole idea is just bringing people together. That's the key, right? Like just
It is, chili is has been around so long because I think to a degree it's kind of the quintessential American food,
mm,
right? It's not that hard to create, and you can. I don't want to take away the
no,
talents of the cooks, but it's easy to customize,
yeah,
right? You use your own spices, blends, proteins or non-protein if you're doing veggie chili like we have now. So what happened over the years is that it really became probably one of the most popular fundraisers uh, for small town America. That's why you'll see tons of chili contests on a courthouse square. You have corporations that will get in on it. You have competition teams that like we follow and try to celebrate, get in on it. And then you'll have charitable organizations get into it, whether it's a JC's or a Civitan group or Optimist Club, whatever. It's one of those things that enables people to have a good time, eat some great food, and do something good for charity. So over the years, I think the number now is over $100 million that ICF or ICS contests have raised for charities throughout the country, border to border, coast to coast. Uh, we've impacted a lot of great causes and plan on continuing to do that.
that's gotta make you so proud, Mike.
Well, it's rare that you get to do something you love, and um, it's also rare that you get to do something you love that is good for other people. And that's the thing about this whole industry that once I got it kind of into my blood, it's like smoke in your clothes. It's hard to get out.
Yeah.
We are able to touch lives, whether it's the chef or the cook, elevate them, help them reach the next rung on the ladder of their career, give them a marketing purpose and reason to promote their restaurant if they have one. But then also create a community of people who are doing the same thing. They all get to meet, aggregate, congregate, and empathize with one another. And then the output of it usually is through some kind of people's choice chili program where you're able to bring consumers to the table. And then the more consumers you can bring to the table, the more sponsors you get. And the more sponsors you get, the more money you can raise for charity.
Yeah.
So it all starts with that culinary desire by cooks to get together and prove something to one another, whether it's I'm better at traditional red chili than you are, or we just want to get to have a good time. It all starts right there. And the ripple effect is just ginormous when you think about all the people impacted.
And you were a communications major, so this is kind of like not exactly like that.
It's kind of, well,
A little bit, but
ironically, I think it is. It's kind of like full
oh,
circle for me. You know what? When I went to school to become a communications major, um, I remember us talking a lot in classes about needing to know a little bit about everything and not necessarily everything about something.
mhm.
You just had to know the skills to go find out what you needed to know or what you didn't know, but needed to know. And so my career has been a mirror of that situation. You know, knowing a little bit about a lot of foods has served our company well, and then knowing where to turn and who to talk to answer the questions or to get the answers that we don't know, it has that's kind of like a journalism thing anyway, right? If you're chasing a story down, you don't end until you get the answer, or you complete the cycle of the loop. So ironically, I think my journalism and communication career prepared me for this ever evolving marketing company and then evolving culinary company that I've had the pleasure and the honor of steering along the way.
And the food connection, why is food so like pivotal at the center part of everything you're doing? Why is food this the central piece?
Well, I think primarily because it is the heartbeat of the whole arena. Um, food is its own love language. When you are, especially when you're cooking for others, you really are trying to show them a sense of yourself, give them something which is a language of love, and whether it's acts of service or quality time you want to build into this scenario, food is at the center of all we do. A fun little aside, when we used to sell sponsorships and I was knee deep in it, I remember talking to a young uh, marketing graduate that was working for a massive company, and I remember asking me in a key meeting, so what is your demographic for this? What is it? Who are you really targeting with this thing you're doing, Mike? And why should we get involved? I said, oh, it's a simple. There's a simple answer. We're just targeting people who like to eat food.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, it,
Everybody.
Yeah.
yeah, right. I mean, it's who doesn't eat food? I mean,
Yeah.
if you know some people who don't eat food, let me know because I could lose some weight. But um, I love to know their secrets. But yeah, it's at the very nexus of life. Water, oxygen, food. You need those elements.
Mike, Isabella's got a really neat story with her family and food. If you want to share, Isabella.
Yeah, so my parents are from Italy. So food is very important to us. It's the way that we all come together in my family. And we also own a restaurant, so food is always very important. And I've noticed too, like, different types of people come into the restaurant. People who have never met before come to meet there. It's just a way to bring people together, I think, just food in general.
What kind of restaurant do they own? Is it
It's
Italian?
we've had bigger like Italian restaurants in the past, but now we own like a smaller pizzeria
Mm,
restaurant. So
nice.
see all Italian food and pizza.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I've got to have pizza in my diet at least once a week.
Me too. More than that, if anything.
Yeah.
I've been experimenting with different crusts, Mike and Isabella.
Are
So
you cauliflower yet?
I did. I tried that. I like it a lot. I tried to do a cottage cheese crust, but it was too liquidy.
Mm.
And then I saw a recipe online for a meat crust. And then my sister said to me, "That's just like a burger with cheese on it without a bun, Derek." I'm like, maybe you're right. But
Oh, I've seen those before, the
I'm,
chicken ones. They
there's
use like
chicken
a
ones, there's
large chicken
ground,
cutlet and then they put the
ground,
sauce and cheese, which is
ground.
basically chicken
Yeah,
parm.
exactly. Ground beef. I'm just like, you know what? I enjoy it. I'm gonna try it. But she's right. It's kind of like just like meat with cheese.
That sounds good to me. I always get the carnivore pizza whenever I go and splurge. So
Well, sometimes when you're traveling, like it's hard to get healthy food.
yeah,
And I was actually at an In-N-Out burger in Arizona, and I was just like, was it there or the next restaurant? I said, just give me the lettuce and the burger, because like I can't be eating the buns at every single place. But it's
yeah.
like sometimes that's just as good, you know? But these pizzas are so cool, Isabella. Like you can try so many different types of crust now. It's amazing.
Yeah, especially the cauliflower one. That's one of my favorites.
I love the Do you like the cauliflower one, Mike?
I do. I didn't think I would, and I had a friend make me one once, and I was like, okay, I'll take this once a week, please.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really impressed with it.
It's really good. So can you take us through, we won't go through like every bit of the rules, but like how does somebody qualify for this event? Is there events you do throughout the year? What's the process and are there different categories?
Yeah, let's start with the categories.
Okay.
So we have four major categories that we crown a champion in at the Worlds. The veggie category, has been growing and is becoming more popular. We do a home style version, which enables you or anyone to make any style of chili. You put cornbread in it, you can put sour cream in it, honey in it, whatever you want.
Ooh.
And then we get to the two majors, which are chili verde, green chili, which is typically very spicy, and then traditional red, which is the no bean red chili from Texas, from ranchers, and the reason that it was a no bean chili is that back in the day, as legend has it, beans were a luxury. Being able to take them with you as a ranch hand out into the plains or when you're out on the ranch, whatever. It, you couldn't take them or you couldn't afford to take them, and they would eat chili that was basically cubed beef. So you'll see a lot of poultry in chili verde, but primarily beef in traditional red. And one of our primary sponsors is Bush's Beans. So they're required in the home style division and politely recommended for the others. So a traditional red team probably won't use beans in there, but we do see it occasionally at some of our qualifiers. And that's the second part of your question. We have local qualifiers throughout the country. All of them are listed on the website. You see under the cook-offs there, I think there's a list of where, and you can search by the map and names. You can see there, yeah. And that's probably the next 3 months or 6 months of chili competitions that are occurring. Someone has to win one of the categories at those events to get invited to compete at the Worlds. And if they win all four of the categories somehow, some way and it could be at multiple events, we call them a Grand Slam champion, in that they've won veggie, home style, traditional red, and chili verde. And then we have a special competition for the Grand Slam cooks at the Worlds. So that's the long and the short of it.
Amazing. So it looks like most of the things online, they're for the 2025 season. Is there an up to the 11th? Our event's on the 12th. Would that actually qualify for 26 or 25?
It actually qualifies you for 26.
Okay.
The Our season runs from July 1 to June 30th.
Okay.
So you earn your qualification up to June 30th, and then you can register to be at the World. And
Awesome.
if you win July 8th or August 1 or September, whatever, technically you're winning a golden ticket into the next year's championship.
So for years, our event in Westchester for the cook-off was run by the Rotary, and they would require that each team made around 30 gallons of chili, which is a lot of chili.
Yeah.
For your qualifiers, how much chili is required to be made?
So that the reason they required that is because they were doing a fundraiser. They were requiring the teams to serve People's Choice chili. And that's how the Rotary or any other entity is actually making money. They're selling tickets so that people can come into the event and sample any of the chili, right? So we don't require them to do that. They just have to create, I think it's 16 ounces, 12 or 16 ounces. Don't quote me
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Because my chili
Yeah.
coordinator would get all over me for not knowing that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But you have to do a small bucket of chili for your turn-in so that the judges have sufficient chili to score the dishes with. But whatever happens locally, as far as you're required to create 2 gallons, 3 gallons, 4 gallons, 30 gallons of chili, then that is totally up to some kind of local strategy that they're employing to as a fundraiser.
So once we get our application in, and we sign up and our event gets recognized, will somebody from your team judge the chili?
What we'll do is open you up to our networks so that we can have certified chili judges in your region to sign up and volunteer to come help you.
Cool. And then from there, we'll have four categories. A winner from each category will then get an invite to the 2026 championships.
And they're welcome to come this year just to see it
Yeah,
and learn from it. And I highly encourage that. But yeah, they would become golden ticket qualifiers into next year's championship.
this is so cool. Isabel, can you believe this?
This is crazy. I actually have a question. So I realized that all of your qualifying competitions are in the United States, but do you have anybody from like anywhere in the world come to this competition?
We have in the past.
Okay.
That's still kind of a laggard now since COVID. Um, Really, what happened, in my opinion, with COVID is events that were kind of borderline. It's a lot of work to pull off a contest, as you all are learning. Um, and if you don't have a really good revenue strategy, then it ends up being a lot of work just for fun. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that if you're trying to raise money for charity and you're not raising very much, but you're doing all this work, it does kind of get troublesome after a while. And I think what happened in during the COVID years, year and a half ish, a lot of people that were that borderline return just decided not to get back in the game. So that happened with some of our international competitions. We call it International Chili Society for a reason. So we've had teams from Canada, Mexico, and even Europe come to the Worlds. We haven't in the last 3 or 4 years, but I do think that will get revived.
A great
Okay.
question, Bella. Yeah, this is amazing. All right, so I think we've got a good overview of the chili cook-offs and the championship. Can you take us through the World Food Championships? And I think you said there was an acquisition you've now combined. If you can just kind of take us through the structure, that'd be awesome to learn about.
Yeah, so about almost 2 years ago, I brought on investors and sold a large chunk of the overall enterprise to um, to a public company called Endeavor, which owns IMG, and IMG is one of those entities that builds out leagues. You probably heard about IMG Academy for golf and for other sports. So they came in to be a partner with us on trying to build out this food sport, what we call food sport league of chefs and pro teams and home cooks. And since then, we've been focused on making our World Food Championships just bigger and better, making it more global because IMG had offices in like 75 different countries, and perfecting our operational game plan, ultimately getting it all ready for a big TV series.
Amazing.
So right now we had about 350 teams last year in 12 categories. That's not including the Chili Championship. This year we've pulled the 12 back to 10 categories that we think are truly mainstays. Every now and then we experiment with one or two categories. So now we have 10. We have about a $500,000 prize purse in this program. So a person or a team who can perform well enough to win a category, let's say burger, and that's probably one of our most international programs. We had, I think, about 6 or 7 countries represented just in burger last year. But if you win burger, you win a $10,000 check, and then you get a seat at what we call the ultimate challenge, which is the final table. That's where all the champions go head to head against each other, and they navigate 3 more challenges to try to win $150,000. So it's you win a qualifier, you go to the World Food Championships, and you compete against other champions of that qualifier category. And if you win there, you go to a final table to win against the other vertical champions and try to win the big bucks.
So we showed the deck, but you have several verticals. Burgers are one of them. Chili is
Yeah,
its own separate animal, but what are the verticals?
so I'll try to name them from
Yeah.
here. So we've got dessert. We've got chef category. We have a chef category because we've learned that chefs don't like to compete against home cooks because they might lose, right? And they don't like that. So we have a professional chef category. We have live fire. We have bacon. We have burger. We have, I think we had noodle and rice last year. We've got barbecue. What else have we got?
I think that was here. Are these the categories here?
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Seafood, soup,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
rice, dessert. Yeah.
That barbecue one looks really good. What do you think, Isabella? That barbecue one.
That does look good. This all looks good. It's making me
Yeah.
hungry.
Which would you like to have, Isabella? Like if you have any of them.
Definitely burgers or
Yeah.
dessert. I would
Oh,
honestly anything though. I would try any of this besides seafood.
Mike, do you get to try all these?
I get to try whatever my belly will allow.
Have
Um,
you ever competed?
no, no. When they came out with a TV show called America's Worst Cooks, my biggest fear was that one of my champions was going to turn my name into that show because I definitely would have won that show. But
Oh,
um, I grill some, but I'm not that big of a cook. I
Mike,
spend some time trying to market people who are.
only because I wasn't in it would you maybe win that.
Well, I didn't want to embarrass myself. It would have been
No, it's
awful for
okay.
the CEO of the World Food Championships to go on that show and lose. But I will tell you this. Yes, I get a chance to eat any and all of this because I'm usually behind the scenes and I'm near what we call the grazing table instead of the chef's table. And I never miss turn-ins when it's dessert, seafood, or burger. I never miss those turn-ins. I want to see what the teams are doing.
Yep. That makes sense. So this event is different from your international chili contest, which is in October, the 16th, the 19th. This is November 8th to the 12th. It's 5 days.
That was last year.
Oh, that was
That's
last year. Okay.
yeah, it was 5 days last year. We've narrowed it down to 4 days this year by extending each one of the days. You can see there that we started at like 9 o'clock and ended at
Be
3 or 4. So we're taking longer days and we'll squeeze it into 4 days this year. There's an opening round, and then for each category there's a final round too.
Okay, and I apologize if you said this. Are you combining this with the chili or
So Chili's not going to go into this format,
okay,
but it's going to go to the same location, and we're going to run the Chili Championships the way they've always been run,
got
and then
it.
we're going to run World Food Championships at the same time the way it's been run. Um, an interesting question would be, do we foresee molding chili into the WFC process? And the immediate um, reaction to that is no, but it's an interesting question that we will be grappling with over the next couple of years. You know, do they need to be mashed up? Or does chili need to continue to stand by itself? It's certainly for 58 years, it's been its own thing. And I don't know that it ever should stop being its own thing. But by the same token, as a company who's doing multiple championships in the WFC arena, there shouldn't be a reason not to be able to do that somehow with chili. So maybe we'll have like a Chili Legends Championship in WFC while we continue to do the normal championship. We'll see.
You just don't want to pull away from that event's success because it's such a standalone.
Yeah, it's its own community and it's had its own purpose and its own success for 58 years. So there's a part of me that says, don't mess it up. Don't break it if it's not broken.
So do you change the location each year?
No, it's we don't have the resources like the NFL to choose a new stadium every year to go to the Super Bowl. So what we typically do is a 3 to 5 year contract in a particular city. We work with the tourism departments, ag departments, et cetera, to get sponsor dollars, and we'll try to be in a same location at least 3 years. What that really allows us to do is have a couple of years of recouping that first year of investment. Going to any new city has so much learning curve and so much extra expense because you're meeting new vendors. You don't really know where all of the potholes are in the road, so to speak. So we end up losing money typically in the first year of a new city, but then in the year 2, year 3, having the history of how the road curves allows us usually to overcome that loss.
Amazing. Well, there's so much here. I mean, you should be so proud of yourself. You are amazing to build all this, pull it all
Well,
together.
I'd be remiss to not mention the dozens, if not hundreds of people who've been a part of it and helped along the way. I've had great teams, great staffs, definitely have a great staff right now, and I just feel like I'm a part of it. I don't consider it my staff anymore. It's our staff. And secondly, that we've done this on the backs of the passion in the industry, right? All the competitors who are the reason that we built this, they're the ones who bring the energy and the passion to the arena. And they're the ones who made me see the light, quite frankly, that there was this whole new platform that was waiting to be built. I'll never forget, there's probably a dozen moments over the years that I've seen a person hoist a trophy or climb steps, even though they had been given a prognosis that they wouldn't walk again. People using this championship and their ability to cook as their motivation to get to the next day
Wow.
and to follow their dreams and to primarily just have a purpose behind their life. That's been the thing that really built this. And we just try to basically give them the guardrails, give them the field, give them the rules of the game, and go pursue your own career dream on the playing field. So that's really been the secret to it.
Amazing. That's a goosebump story. What would you tell somebody that's starting out and they're afraid, Mike, they want to start their passion, their business, their charity, but they're just afraid and they're thinking of all the reasons that it's not going to work or could go wrong and they're afraid to get started. What would you say?
A million things I would say. And you all know one of them is tattooed to my arm. Start now, right? Um, you know, to me, as I've told all my staff at various times, failure is an option. And the reason that failure is an option is that you're taking a risk. And if you're taking a risk, then you don't really know how the outcome is going to be.
Mm.
And that means that you're pushing the envelope and you're pushing yourself.
Yeah.
So don't always try to have all the answers. If you feel passionate about something, pursue it. You may not know everything you need to know, but you'll learn along the way, and along the way you'll get better. And that's the way we look at the championship every year. Every year that we go into our main event, we feel like, okay, this is the best it's ever been. And invariably, we get in a day or two into it and we're like, dang, we didn't think about that. And now we need a new role, or we need to stretch here and push there. And we come out of it with the spirit of, we just learned some more stuff to make this better for next year. But that didn't stop us from doing it, right? We didn't, if we tried to wait until it was perfect, we would have missed 10 out of the last 12 championships probably. So you just got to apply your mind to it and pursue it.
But somebody that's risk averse or is younger might not be able to have that same wisdom that you're sharing. The idea that it's a setback, it's an opportunity to learn, it doesn't have to define you
That's exactly right.
failing.
I for people who, especially if they're looking at cooking, or any kind of cooking based event, there's so many great examples out there to go learn from.
Hmm.
Just come to our event, go to your event, go to look around you. There's going to be some kind of food event, food competition, on a courthouse square somewhere in America next weekend, this weekend. And generally speaking, most people, especially in the chili industry, um, most people who organize events are almost always looking for volunteers. So start out as a volunteer. Go work for someone who's doing something that's kind of like what you're wanting to do, and learn. Be willing to give, because you will end up getting something out of it. You'll get knowledge out of it, and that'll give you the confidence to move forward with your own game plan.
I like that. Be willing to learn and be okay with failure. Does not define you.
Just the only thing about failure as an option that I always caveat it with: repeated failure of the same thing is not acceptable.
Good insights.
If you're failing at something, it's because you've stretched yourself. Just
Yeah,
after you fail there, you need to learn from that, so you don't repeat that failure again, right? The next failure needs to be something else, which will teach you another lesson.
amazing. It's just lifelong learning, Mike.
Every day, every
Is
day.
Isabella, do you have any other questions for Mike that's on your mind?
I actually have one last question before we close up. What is the most memorable food that you have had at one of these events?
Oh my gosh,
That's a great question, Mike.
that's
Drop
like
the mic,
asking,
Isabella.
I feel like this is going to be a hard question to answer.
like, which one of your children is your favorite? So actually, I can go to one fairly easy. So the second championship we ever did was in Las Vegas. We're there for 3 years, and we were on Fremont Street, and it was crazier than all. It was crazier than nine wet cats. It was nuts. Um, the guy that ended up winning the overall championship made his mother's carrot cake. And I remember we were in such a tizzy trying to get all of our ducks in a row and get the contestants on stage. We were filming for a big TV show, and Simon Majumdar was there, Famous Dave was there, Louis Anderson was there as part of our judges, and I remember I didn't have much time to eat the food because I was just in high velocity, get it done mode. But I saw the carrot cake and it had nuts on it. I love nuts. And I stopped for a second and I said, Dave, I got to have some of that. And he gave me a quick serving, and I was eating it on the way, going to the stage. And later on, I heard Simon Majumdar say on the mic to Dave Elliott from Olathe, Kansas, who had made his mother's carrot cake. And there's more to this story that would give you goosebumps, but I'm not going to go there. Um, he basically said, Dave, that's the best carrot cake I've ever eaten in my life. And I had to agree with him. I loved it. Dave Elliott won $50,000 that night as our champion. He was our last $50,000 champion, which he reminds me of, because the next year we went to 100 grand. Um, but it's a moment I'll never forget. And it was just fantastic food, the right thing at the right time, the best bite I ever could have picked out. And it was validated on stage by him winning and what Simon Majumdar said.
That's awesome.
Isabella, great question. Mike, amazing response. Very cool. Well, we learned a lot today. It's inspiring because this is what America is. It's the land of opportunity, build, grow, serve, love, entrepreneurship. That's what we were founded on. So I appreciate all you're doing, all the jobs you're helping provide for people, the economies that you're supporting, both locally and across the country, and for your partnership, Mike. Seriously, this is awesome. We feel so privileged and blessed to work with you on this. It's going to give our footprint here for the fundraiser we're doing in October even more breadth and scope, and hopefully bring more people to the cause of hunger awareness and food insecurity, which is what we're trying to do, create an end to hunger. So thank you, Mike, for your support.
Thank you for your time today, and thank you for what you're doing. Kudos to you for doing that, and best of luck with great success. I find that people who do something for a good reason, a good cause, you're typically going to find great success. So I'll try to be there if I can. If not, we'll wish you well and try to be there next time. But thank you for being a part of our family at International Chili Society, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Mike. With that,
Thank
I am
you.
Derek Fiorenza with,
Isabella Ambrosino.
and we were grateful and honored to have Mike McCloud from the International Chili Society with us today and the World Food Championships on the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.